Hello, happy Thursday, everybody from TCI. God bless you. We love you all. This is JB Brown, the senior spiritual leader and founder of the Church of Inclusion, coming to you with a message for our Thursday meeting. Monday we kind of talked about a couple things, but it was about making sure you don't settle for less than what your potential is. And one of the things that we slightly hinted on in there was talking about goals and setting goals. And it was interesting because the following couple days, I had a few people who I have helped giving over the years advice to. They want financial advice and things of that nature. And I don't give financial advice, but because of my success in that area, they just wanted me to kind of steer them in a direction where they could find those advisors. And when I asked why, it was because they wanted to become financially secure. And I said, well, what's your goals? And they didn't have any other than they want to be secure and they want to be financially a certain amount of money they want to make. And I said, well, you're never going to do it. And I know you're like, man, you sure bring the bad news a lot. It's not about bringing the bad news. It's about being realistic, okay? Goals are everything. So in the month of December of each year, there's a couple things I do. I review the past year, right? And what we did. Did we accomplish goals? Did we fail? How bad did we fail? How far did we go past the goal? How much did we succeed? And I analyze it. And you break down your year. But then towards the end of the month of December, as we're getting closer to January, it switches, and I'm now looking this direction towards the next year. And as I look out over that next year, I'm sitting there going, what is the goal for 2022? What are my goals personally? What are my goals for the church? What are my goals for my companies that I own? What are my goals for my family? We have to set goals. See, if you say to yourself, I'd like to own a house this year. I want to buy a house. That's my goal for 2022. That's a good start, but that's not finished. That's just, okay, you want to end up there. But how do you get from here where you're at point A, living in an apartment or a car or a transitional house or your parents' house or an RV or something, how do you get from point A to point B, your goal, which is a house? That's a good question. And so once you kind of figure that out, there's a lot in between, isn't there? And that's where a mentor comes in, and you get advice from people around you and leaders who have been down that road and gone from point A to point B. And that's what I did with this friend of mine. I explained how I got from point A to point B in my life in the area that he was looking for. And I used my own goals for 2022, and I kind of want to do that with you real quick. So I'm going to break a couple things down for you. As an example, I'm in the process in 2022 of purchasing a couple homes. And one of them is going to be for Jonathan's Refuge, which is a organization that is created to create a home for people that are, let's be honest, the people in society no one wants. The guys and gals coming out of prison, the drug addicts, the con artists, the bad of the bad. And that can change, meaning they don't have to be the worst of the worst if we try to help them. We can't change them, but what we can do is offer them a refuge. And for those that actually want to change, that refuge is going to give them that opportunity. Instead, if we leave them out where they're at right now, well, they're just going to keep doing what they've been doing, which is robbing, killing, stealing, raping, pillaging. And you, me, Joe Public, we're the ones that pay the price. So for the year of 2022, I have 2 houses that I need to purchase. Now, to do that, I have to figure out, number one, I need to talk to my realtor, which I got a hold of. Then I need to go ahead and decide where I'm going to pick the location. So I had to pick 2 counties that I wanted to look in. Then I have to be diligent and look at all these listings. And so I spend approximately 30 minutes a day on that project, and I do this every day, Monday through Friday. I speak to my realtor once a week. I talk to the guy that I've worked with in the mortgage industry once a month. I keep checking in on the industry, making sure that I'm not learning too late about opportunities, special grants, special housing programs. There's all kinds of things out there. I remember when I've made millions in real estate, and I remember one time I just leaving town to fly out of Seattle to go back east to work. And as I did, I grabbed our local paper, just a little tiny local cheesy newspaper. It's not anything fancy. It probably only had a reader base of maybe 10,000 people that read that paper. But I grabbed it, and I'll tell you why I grabbed it. Because if I was in that town and I owned homes, well, no one read the Seattle Times in that town. No one read the big papers. They read the little one. So I would have advertised in there too. And that's why I grabbed it. So on the plane, I'm reading 2 articles, and there it is. There are 2 houses, and I bought both of them, and I think I paid $15,000, and those houses are worth like $800,000 now, and it was a fortune made. But had I not had my goals and individual little goals, meaning I made back then a goal that year, get the newspaper every single Sunday and Monday. And get the Sunday, Monday paper, because that's where they're going to advertise. And that's usually where most of your advertising is, on Sundays and Mondays. So I got the Sunday, Monday paper, split down, read it every single week. And sure enough, what happens? Eventually I find the one. The first time it popped in there, I made the phone call, and I was the first guy to get the deal. So if I didn't have that plan, if I didn't take and buy the paper, and keep in mind, every week prior, if I had not done it, I probably wouldn't have done it that week. And somebody else would have saw that and said, my Lord, this is a great opportunity. How did no one pass this up? How did everyone just walk by it? Well, that's because most people don't set goals. See, we all say we want to lose weight. I was 450 pounds, people. 450 pounds. So I dropped 280 of it. How do you do that? Well, it's not by accident. It's by a lot of dedication of exercise and eating right. Not dieting. Dieting doesn't work. Eating right. And you have to find out what right eating is for your body. My body eats certain things, and it goes straight to fat. And I'll pack on, if I ate a pound of it, I'll pack on a pound. It's crazy. If I even look at that food, I pack on half a pound. But when you look at other people, they eat that food, they lose weight. Why? Their genetics are different than mine. Their body's different than mine. Their workout routines are different than mine. And that's the keys. We got to find out what worked for me. So I figured it out, and then I had to go ahead and say, okay, every day, Monday through Friday, I'm going to walk 4 miles every day. And I'm only going to eat this much food of this food, and I'm going to eat this food this much. And I made specific things, and I put it down, and I did my research, and I went to college to get a degree in nutrition, and I wanted to make sure I understood it all, because I was in the process literally at the time of just finishing up with 4 heart attacks and 2 massive strokes and 32 mini strokes at the time. That's some pretty bad stuff to deal with. So I had to make sure that I wasn't just doing this half-heartedly, because I didn't want to hurt myself by not doing it properly. So I had to plan things out. But I had a plan, and I figured out how much weight I could lose realistically, not going out there thinking I could drop all 280 in 1 year. That, could it happen? Absolutely. Has it happened to people? Absolutely. Is it realistic for most people? No. But I set my goals, and I said, I can do this. This is a very achievable goal. And I did it, and I achieved it. And so if you don't have your goal set out for the year, if you don't have the end goal and then everything on the steps that you have to do to get there, see, that's the part everyone forgets. We start with, I'm here, and I want to be here at the end of the year. That's great. That's a good goal. How are you going to get there? You got to have these little goals and little steps, because it's going to take a lot of little steps to get you to climb all the way up there. But then if you get up there, guess what? You did it. You picked a goal and you aimed high, okay? And you accomplished it. Now, maybe you failed, right? I failed. I got to hear, man, I didn't lose the 280. Dog nugget. That's okay. I was actually aiming to lose a lot more than the 280, but I didn't. So I failed. But I still lost 280 pounds. That's a very large man I lost, or 2 small men. And so you're never going to accomplish your goals. You say, well, I want to be rich. Okay. I'll tell you what Tony Robbins told me when I said that. Tony said, how are you going to get there? Well, I just told you, I got a goal. I'm going to get rich. I'm going to be a multimillionaire. I want to have $2 million a year. I think that was my goal. If I remember, it was $2 million for the year. That was what I wanted to make. And he says, that's awesome. So you're here and that's your goal. But what's all this? How are you going to get there? And I was like, I don't know. I'm going to work at it. And he says, well, you're not going to get it. Now, that first year, I kind of blew him off. I know better than he did. I'm smarter than him. Yeah. I didn't get the goal. I didn't get up here. I didn't even get from here to here. Why? I failed because I failed to plan. We've all heard that saying, right? People fail because they fail to plan. If you don't have a plan, you're bound to fail. Sometimes, if you talk to my staff and members of the church and people that are in my company, they'll tell you, you know one thing about Rev, this guy has like 50 plans and a backup plan for a backup plan for a backup plan for a backup plan. And if anything ever falls apart, my staff and my companies and my employees, they're good to go. They don't panic because we've already prepared every scenario we could possibly. And there are times where you don't truthfully, or I shouldn't say, you're not prepared for every situation. But overall, our organization and the people in it are always prepared because we're planning all the way. So we got the goal and we're here and we're going to get here. But we're going to make it because we're not failing to plan. We're planning to succeed. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to hit all of our goals all the time. But as we start this year out and we're still in January, it's not too late. You got 11 months left. So let's take the last part of this week here as you're going into the February, as we're about to approach into February, and let's look at what our goals are. Is it your marriage? If you're fighting all the time and your wife and you are just bang, bang, bang at it, knock down arguments, well, you need to get help. That help's not going to come because you two think you're smarter than the average couple. You need to get experience from people who have been down that road before. First thing I did, I'll never forget when it comes to marriage, I don't take it lightly. You got to get counseling from people that you trust. So I have mentors that I've been married for ages. And I asked them advice. I had a pastor friend, he's probably only been married for 20 years. So he could teach you how to be successfully married for 20 years. But I went through a divorce. And he was wanting to kind of teach me how to get another wife. And I was like, oh, no, I appreciate it, brother. But I won't be getting advice from you on that. And he's like, why not? I'm a pastor. I was like, yeah, that doesn't qualify you. You've never been divorced. So you don't know what I'm going through. You don't. You've read about it in books. You studied at it in seminary, but you haven't done it. So I have another pastor who actually got divorced after I think it was 25 years. And him and his family and the whole separation. And then he remarried about 5 years later. And they've been married now for almost 30 years. That's my go-to guy for any questions about marriage. And his wife, who also went through a nasty divorce. And so when you look at that, you can then get solid advice from people who were here and got here. And they can tell you every step to get there. And that's the key, is you just need to go ahead and figure out, if I'm climbing to Rainier, well, that's great. I remember when I first decided to climb Rainier, and this was last year. They told me I wouldn't live past a certain date, and so I said, okay, I'm going to pick a mountain to climb past that date, so I have to live for that. And I picked climbing Rainier. And then I talked to some experts who climb Rainier, and a good friend of mine said, I'm going to take you up there. But before you do, here's the thing. You got to climb these 4 mountains. You got to do St. Helens, you got to do Mount Adams, you got to do Mount Hood, you got to do Mount Baker, and then you can do this. And I was like, well, why? Why do I got to do all those? And he said, because each one actually is building on top of a foundation. So when you get to Rainier, everything you're going to have to overcome at Rainier has been overcome on all those 4 mountains. And I was like, got it. That makes all sense. You ain't got to tell me twice. I want to go here. I'm here. I don't know how to get there, but you do. So you're going to tell me these steps, and I'm going to follow them. because I trust your advice. And so that is critical. Let's set our goals for 2022. Let's put them in writing. Where are they at? And you need to look at them on a weekly basis, if not daily. Some people can do it weekly. Some have to do it daily. That's what you need to investigate for yourself. Are you the person that can just look at your goals once a week and be reminded? I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I take my goals and I just tape them to my mirror, or I tape them somewhere in my bedroom. I used to tape them above my actual, the ceiling. So when I woke up in the morning, the first thing I looked at was all my goals. Big old card up there, huge card, right? my ex-wife hated it. I'm always up there taping goals. You'd go in my house and there'd be a positive affirmation somewhere. You get towards my closet, I'd have another goal, another positive affirmation, something reminding me to be kinder because I was working on being kinder, or maybe it was something to remind me to be more humble. Whatever it is, you got to have those goals, and that's up here, and then you got to have the steps to get to that goal. So let's set the goals, put them in writing, then let's talk to the people who have been there, a mentor, and then let's figure out the little steps that you got to do to get there. But then you need to take those goals and you need to send them out to people that you consider mentors. And what do I mean by that is real simple. I've got friends, and every year I send them my goals. Why? Because at the end of the year, you know what they do? They call me. Hey, how'd we do? Now, a few of them who are very good at what they do as mentors, they call me on a monthly basis and see where I'm at. And they do that because if on a monthly basis, if I'm off track by even 1 degree, they try to course correct me. I remember hearing a guy once say, if you left New York Harbor for England, but you charted the course and you were off by only a couple degrees, just a couple degrees, you'd end up in France. And I'm like, what? I mean, it's no biggie, a couple degrees, I can adjust later, right? No, he says, a couple degrees will send you to France and not England. Well, if you're trying to get to England, France isn't England. But by not course adjusting, you're not going to make it. So you got to figure out where you want to go. You got to chart a course, figure out the steps. You got to have mentors who have done it so they can guide you through the process of the storms that are going to come to you. They're going to let you know when you get past Georgia Banks out there in the water, you know, there's going to be some interesting weather. You got the ice coming down from the north depending on the time of the year. There's all kinds of things. But the mentors can teach you that. And so it's important to have a leader in your life that can help lead you through those waters. All right, guys, I've given you enough to think about for the weekend. I love you. God loves you. You know the drill, live positive. But as you live positive this week, live positive in setting your goals and the steps to get to that goals and the mentors to guide you through those waters. I love you guys.